Good morning and happy Monday. Today we are going to talk about horizontal and vertical lines because we're moving into our first type of function, which is linear, and we're going to get into graphing that. So before we get into graphing crazy functions, I just want to look at these straight lines, which will be a nice segue into linear functions. So if you guys remember, you guys had a page of notes when we were first talking about slopes last week as the different types of slope that you have. So positive and negative slopes are the two types of slopes that you're going to see in linear functions, right? So it's y equals some sort of number directly attached to the x, and that's that m value that we talked about that slope stands for, m x plus b. And then the other two types of slope were zero and undefined, right? And so that's where you don't have both letters. You don't have y set equal to something with x beside it. So you don't have those two letters there. You only have either y equals a number or x equals a number. And that's either a straight horizontal line or a straight vertical line. And these are two different types of slopes. So I want to start with just these type of lines. Super easy. And then we're going to move into how we graph and how we get the equations for these two types of slopes. So for today, move this back down. I want you to title this page horizontal and vertical lines. I need to turn this. Okay, so we're going to title it horizontal and vertical lines. I feel like I haven't done a video where I'm writing at the same time as I'm explaining in quite some time. Usually I go ahead and write them out and kind of talk through them, but I want to write this one out with you guys. So when we're doing horizontal and vertical lines, there are characteristics of each that can help you remember them. So I'm going to attach a sheet of paper that has graphs on them. If you want to print these out, I'll attach these, or you can just hand draw a graph. But this is going to be up here when we're talking about horizontal lines, and I'm going to do another one down here for vertical. Again, you can draw your own little graph right here if you want to pause the video. If you can't print that out or you don't want to print that out, draw yourself a little graph right here and try to keep your lines really straight. So, in order to graph any type of line, you're going to be working on the coordinate plane. This is the coordinate plane. It's where we have x values and y values, right? So on a single number line, this is what you guys are used to. These are x values. And when you were graphing your inequalities, you were working on this x-axis, but only the x-axis. So you were saying, x is greater than 2, x is less than 2, but you were only working on this x-axis. So now we're going to look at things on the coordinate plane as we graph them and how they look. So within this coordinate plane, when we graph these points and we're looking at linear functions and what is slope and what does that mean? Well, slope is just how the line is moving, right? So when we have horizontal and vertical lines, they have, either a zero slope or an undefined slope because it's just a straight line. It just depends on which axis you cut through. So for vertical lines, those are going to be the x-axis. So up top, I want you to write x-axis, vertical lines. Okay, so if you look, this is the x-axis. I'm going to glue that down right there. Okay, that's the x-axis, this line right here. All of those numbers on this x-axis, they are represented with a vertical line at that number. So this vertical line right here, this is 1. This is x equals 1. Okay, this one right here, 2, this vertical line is x equals 2. Right there. Anywhere that if you put a dot on anywhere on that line, the x value is going to be 2. Now, if you put a dot up here, yes, the x value is 2, but the y value is going to be different. These are different. All these lines cutting through are different y values. But no matter what, if I'm on this line somewhere, the x value on that line is 2. The x value way out here is 8. Anywhere on that line, that is 8 on the x-axis. So all of these vertical lines represent x values because they cut through the x-axis. So some things that we can remember with our, I'll glue that down later, with our vertical lines is the acronym VUX. So you have HOI and VUX as our acronyms. So we're going to remember V, U, X. VUX. What does that stand for? Vertical lines, undefined slope, and that it crosses the x-axis. Okay? So vertical lines will always look like x equals a number. Always. There will be no other letters, just x equals a number. It's the only thing. It'll be a vertical line. So it will look like this. It will go up and down. So that will be a line. It will be a straight line. And then, of course, let me just note right here, the origin, in case you happen to forget, it's where the x-axis and y-axis cross in the middle. Okay, so you guys have plotted points before. You know, if I have 2, 2, I'd go over 2, up 2. That's a point. That is represented with numbers inside of parentheses, right? 2, 2 inside of a parentheses. And I gave you guys points last week to use to find the slope. When you have x set equal to a single number, and I'm asking you to graph that, that is not a point. That does not mean that you draw a dot. That means you draw a line. That means that that number is a straight line all the way through that whole number for the x value. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say I give you, oops. X equals 5. Okay, if I say graph x equals 5, the first thing you should do is look at this and say, okay, there's an x, and it's set equal to just a single number, which means it's a straight line. When x is set equal to a number, it is a straight line. And VUX has the x in it, and V stands for vertical. So if I'm dealing with anything that's x value, it's a vertical line. So I need to go to 5 on the x-axis. Remember, this is my x-axis. So I'm going to go over to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all through that 5, I'm going to make a straight line. That is x equals 5. It's as easy as that. So whatever the number is and whatever the letter is, you need to go to this axis and draw a line at that number. Remember, I know that it's confusing because the x-axis runs horizontally, but yet we're making a vertical line. But remember, this is the x-axis. All of the x values that are on that axis are tick marks that run up and down. So in just a second, when we're looking at our y-axis, even though the y-axis runs up and down, all of the values on the y-axis are tick marks that go horizontally, that keep going higher and higher and higher and higher, or lower and lower. But all of these horizontal lines cut through the y-axis, and those are y values. So don't get confused because the axis runs differently than the actual numbers. So vertical lines are how you graph x values. So we're going to scoot down and we're going to do the exact same thing for our y values for our horizontal lines. I'm going to put the graph on this side this time. And down here, I'm going to put y-axis equals horizontal lines. Okay, so write y-axis equals horizontal lines. I'm crooked. There we go. Y-axis equals horizontal lines. So the acronym that we remember for this one is HOY. H-O-Y. HOY. So again, you see how it ends in Y? So we're talking about when Y equals a number. Remember HOY. It starts with an H. So that's going to be horizontal lines. So whenever you have Y set equal to a number, these are horizontal lines. The O, just think 0. 0 slope. And this is going to cross the y-axis. Okay, so this is 0 slope. 0 slope means that it's completely level with the ground. There is 0 incline or decline to it. Undefined, we like to think of that as falling off a cliff, right? If you were to walk across the ground and then the earth just stopped, this would be the edge right here. And you would just go, shoo. This is undefined. It's just straight up and down. There's no way to even talk about that. So we have undefined and we have 0. So 0 slope, our acronym is HOY. Remember that it starts with an H, and those are horizontal lines for the y-axis. So again, when you see y, just y, nothing else, equals a number, not y equals a number and has x beside it. That's completely different. If this was y equals 2, that's a whole different line than y equals 2x, right? Remember, if it's got the x attached to it, that means that it's going to have some sort of slope to it, some sort of incline or decline, positive or negative. If it's just a number, then it's a completely straight line, completely. So when you see this, y set equal to a number and it doesn't have the x value, that is a line like that. So it's going to go straight across. Nothing else, just a straight across line. And this right here is your y-axis. It runs up and down. Okay? Your y-axis goes up and down. The x-axis runs side to side. So if I wanted you to graph, for example, y equals negative 4. If I want you to graph y equals negative 4, that's just a single number set equal to y. So are we going to use HOY or VUX? We're going to use HOY because I see y equals, and I know HOY has a y in it. So HOY stands for horizontal, 0 slope, crosses the y-axis. So I need to go on the y-axis, and I need to go to negative 4, which is right here. Okay, and I need to draw a line that cuts through this negative 4. I need to do the same thing on this side. So that is y equals negative 4. A straight line, 0 slope, just cuts right through. It's crossing through the y-axis. There is no slope, and it is a horizontal line. I have y set equal to a number. Y is equal to just a number, so I'm good to go. And that's how you graph horizontal and vertical lines. Keep in mind, if you have, I'll write it down here, 2, 2 in parentheses, this is not the same thing. Okay, so this is called an ordered pair. Graphed as a dot. Okay, so if you have an ordered pair that I give you and I say graph 2, comma 2, graph 2, 2. Okay, well, we know, well, this is my x value, this is my y value, so I'm going to go over 2, up 2. That's a point. Very different. If I say graph y equals -4, this is different than just an ordered pair. Okay, so an ordered pair is just a dot. If it is y equals a number, it is a line. So what I don't want you guys to do is start graphing dots instead of lines for me. So we're working on lines. So that's your notes for today. I'm going to glue these down later. But you have an example in your notebook of each. Ways to remember, right? So vertical lines go with the x-axis, right? They cross the x-axis. These are undefined slope. Don't forget the origin is in the dead center of your coordinate plane, right? We always start in the middle. I think some of you might have a question like, well, how do I know which way to go, which way to move? Where do I start? Do I just start counting anywhere? You put your finger in the middle of that cross section. That's 0 on the x-axis and 0 on the y-axis. And you move depending on what it's asking you. So it's wanting me to move on the x-axis to 5. So I go over to 5. Because it is x equals a line and it is not just an ordered pair or a dot, I make a line right there. And you'll do the same thing for your y values down here. We have hoi to help us remember that, right? It crosses the y-axis, 0 slope, and these are horizontal lines. And so you'll move on your y-axis depending on what number it's asking you to do. So I'm going to upload a picture of these for you guys to either print or just look at if you like to write them down and then watch the video, or watch the video and then write them later. I'm also going to upload the pictures of the graphs if you want to print those and use those, or you can make your own, totally fine. And then I have attached a link for you guys to work on for tomorrow, and it's an online game. So let me clarify what you're going to do. I've typed it into the instructions for the box, but you're going to click on the link, and then when you get there, you're going to click the restart the game and regenerate a new line. A new blue line will pop up, and you have a space to write in either x equals a number or y equals a number. Once you hit enter, watch your score. If the score doesn't change, you got it wrong, and you need to hit generate new line. You need a new question again. If the score does go up, then you got a point, and you'll hit generate new line again and move on to the next question. You only have to get 5 consecutively in a row for you to win the game. And once you get there, you'll see the screen will say that you've won, and you'll just take a screenshot of that, or you can take a picture of it with your phone and upload that to the classroom for today, and that way I know that you've done the assignment. So have fun with that. It's not very hard. You don't need much practice with this. Again, these are just straight horizontal or vertical lines. Look at the letter they gave you and the number they gave you, and that's how you move. If you have trouble with that, please comment on the classroom or email me and let me know, and I'm always here to help you. But I will have tutoring tomorrow. I'm sorry, I have tutoring today. You're watching this on Monday. I have tutoring today. So if you're watching this early enough and you're really struggling, let me know, and you can still stop by school if I haven't left yet. I will be at the school today from 9 to 1. I think it is absolutely imperative for some of you to be coming in and seeing me to work on late work that you're not understanding. So don't be scared to stop by or come in if you need help. All right, have fun with today's lesson, and I will talk to you guys later.